Speaker, for so many of us, this is a good week. The first week of reopening, families being able to finally see each other, businesses reopening, people being back at work. We hope we've been through the worst of the year. Kids are going back to school, cousins can visit, business owners have some hope. Through the worst of winters in 2021, we have seen the best of New South Wales to every health worker, paramedic, nurse, doctor, hospital cleaner, right up to the Chief Health Officer, Kerry Chan, and yes, the former Premier of New South Wales, Gladys Berejiklian. Thank you so much. To every frontline worker, we won't forget what you've been through this year. You've stuck together, you're sticking it out, and you're getting us through this. But I know that for so many people in my community and across this state, it's not like that. For the families of people who breathed their last, I want to pay tribute to everyone who have suffered such sad loss since the Parliament last met back in June. I am so sorry, and I want you to know that we are all thinking of you, Mr. Speaker. People across our state, Sydney, the Illawarra, the Hunter, Central Coast, Northern New South Wales and South Coast have done it incredibly tough. The health crisis that has gripped Wilcannia and Western New South Wales is particularly devastating. Mr. Speaker, we know the human toll of disease, we know the economic cost of lockdown. The impact of the Delta outbreak in our state is very raw and it's very real. The people of the west and southwest of Sydney had the harshest lockdown of any place in Australia at any time during the pandemic. And the numbers are absolutely stark. Mr. Speaker, it is bad that job ads close to the city are down by 25 to 30%. But it's a disaster that job ads are down over 60% in parts of the west and southwest of Sydney. It's wonderful that in parts of Sydney businesses have actually seen increases in trade over this period, but it's a catastrophe that small businesses have suffered losses of trade of up to 70% in parts of the west and southwest. In these parts of our city, over 30% of businesses are receiving support via government grants or JobSaver. This is double the rate of some other regions in this city. Nearly 18% of jobs were lost since the start of the lockdown in parts of the southwest, in areas where 20% of adults are on the disaster support payments. Mr. Speaker, this more than doubles the rate of other parts of Sydney. Think about Fairfield. As well as people on the disaster payments, 1 in 7 people are on JobSeeker. It's the highest in the state. No one can make the case that the devastating effects of this outbreak have been felt evenly. The government must help our state rebuild. The Premier must plan to bring our city back together. I want to live in one Sydney, not two. Our people want to live together, not be pulled apart. No one in the state has been spared, but the people of West and Southwestern Sydney have paid the highest price. There are 3 things that should be done as part of this budget. Firstly, extend COVID economic support. The jobs crisis is not over. Extend the payroll tax reduction. The business crisis, Mr. Speaker, is not over. And a big build in social housing and schools. Let's bring back jobs, get more people into homes, and our kids back learning in classrooms that are fit for the future. Mr. Speaker, nothing about our current situation is easy. Sydney is a global city, and at a time of global pandemic, New South Wales is a tourism mecca, a world leader in international education, and the heart of the nation's logistics chain. Tourism businesses across North and South Coast have been devastated. Industries in the Hunter, the Central Coast and the Illawarra have been ground to a halt. Our international student markets have been gutted and international events have completely disappeared. Regional New South Wales, after years of drought, bushfires and floods, now face a pandemic with a chronically under-resourced rural and regional health system. Our community groups, not-for-profits, local council workers all did an incredible job. Mr. Speaker, this year, this state needs a budget blueprint for a decade of inclusive growth. This week, the state needs a positive plan for the time after outbreaks and lockdowns. That's not the budget we got from Treasurer Dominic Perrottet almost 4 months ago, and it's not the plan we've heard from the new Premier in the past 8 days. Mr. Speaker, I don't blame the government for the fact that COVID hurt our economy, but I do want the government to have a plan to get our economy back to normal and to be even better than it was before the pandemic. And be very clear, We aren't back to normal until we are all back to normal. Mr. Speaker, I believe our state is truly at a tipping point. For all our disagreements, I never doubted Gladys Berejiklian's dedication to New South Wales during this time of crisis or her work in the service of it. But now, in the most uncertain of times, in the most extraordinary of circumstances, we have a new Premier, another new Premier, now the fourth Premier under this O'Farrell, Baird, Berejiklian and now Perrottet government. The new Premier has been tasked with a huge challenge, rebuilding the economy, stopping the division of our state, the two Sydneys, the two states. And I have to say the early signs are worrying. It brings me to the new Deputy Leader of the Liberal Party, a politician who demanded that 2 million people be subject to curfews, worker permits, enhanced restrictions, and all of the resulting economic heartache that followed, while excluding his own electorate, even though other areas of concern had lower case numbers. Now, Mr. Speaker, what would you expect that politician to say 3 days after these divisive restrictions were lifted, after 16 weeks of harsh lockdown for 2 million people? Well, Mr. Speaker, he'd utter those hollow words, "We're all in this together." We're all in this together. We heard it in question time yesterday. Isn't it funny? 16 weeks of heartache, not a word uttered. But now that 2 million people have been released, he'd say with a straight face, as he did yesterday, quote, "I can hear this concept of division, the propagating of a tale of two cities. I've not seen that once," end quote. 2 million people yelled it at the government every day for 15 weeks straight. It was constantly in the news, on television, on the front pages of every newspaper, in every home that was subject to a curfew, in every park with a low-flying helicopter, in every business that saw their turnover smashed. The only possible way that you would not know what the people of this city were thinking and saying is if you were not listening. A government that won't listen, with a new Premier whose record the people of this state should be very concerned about. Now, I suspect that the taxpayers will be more concerned about his shocking record on tolls, taxes, fines and charges than the Perrottet collection of Trump hats and toy nuclear power stations. But every time you pay a toll, send your kids to an overcrowded school or are stuck in traffic, or find the cost of living just that little bit hard, that's the record of the former Treasurer and the new Premier. And what New South Wales people really need to know about him is what he's done as their Treasurer. So let me introduce you to the budget that was introduced 4 months ago. Fines go up, a staggering $3.5 billion over 4 years. Tolls go up. Sydney motorists now pay $2.3 billion a year in tolls. The blatant revenue raising from low-range speed cameras rolls on. Housing affordability gets worse, both in the Sydney and the regional markets, and stamp duty increases a whopping 65% in just 2 years. And what's more, debt is forecast to be $104 billion by 2025, or a whopping 13.7% of GSP. Mr. Speaker, the people of New South Wales are pretty realistic. They don't expect a state government to solve every problem in life, but that doesn't mean they don't want hope. Even in complicated times, the test of a good state budget is pretty simple in the end. Make lives a little easier, reward those who work hard, make sure education standards don't fall, don't unnecessarily increase taxes and tolls, help the state rebuild day by day and bring people together. Mr. Speaker, we actually want the government to get this right. So here's a few things the new Premier could do to see our great state get ahead. This is what should be in the plan this week. First, extend the COVID economic support. The jobs crisis is not over. When the Prime Minister decided to cut our business support earlier, the New South Wales Treasurer should have publicly stood him up. State before party. The federal and state governments decided to withdraw support before businesses had a chance to recover from forced closure and restrictions. We need to understand just how big the impact is on business. Western Sydney businesses have just been hit by a massive reduction in the business support from the levels they relied on to survive. And they'll get nothing at all from the 1st of December, on the first day that businesses can operate with the reduced restrictions of one person per 2 square metres. After months of lockdown, it's simply not as simple as opening your front door and turning on the lights for tens of thousands of businesses across this state. Business relies on ongoing support to cover debts and to support cash flow during reopening. Our businesses have taken huge financial hits and because they personally followed the health advice of the New South Wales government. They've done the right thing and we must back them in. Nobody expects support payments indefinitely, but cutting too quickly will have serious consequences. We should be talking about economic support packages to kickstart the economy again, not winding them back. The government should fundamentally change the way to support business. It shouldn't be based on vaccination rates. It should be after business has recovered, trade has recovered, people are back in jobs. So that's first. Next, extend the payroll tax reduction. The jobs crisis is not over and the business crisis is not over either. We welcome the modest plan the government announced some time ago, cutting the benchmark's tax rate from 5.45% to 4.85% for all payroll tax paying businesses this financial year and last financial year. It was the right thing to do and we supported it. But from 1 July 2022, the rate will revert back to 5.45%. It's too much, too soon. The government should extend the payroll tax reduction for another year at least to help with recovery and support business growth. Right now, businesses are making hiring decisions for next year, Mr. Speaker. They need to know that this payroll tax reduction will not disappear in 8 months' time. The people they will hire need to know those opportunities will exist in 8 months' time. This would be a $1 billion boost so business can rebuild and rehire when they need it most. Fourth, it's time for a big build in social housing and schools, bringing back jobs, getting young people into their homes and our kids learning in classrooms fit for the future. If we learn two things this winter, Mr. Speaker, it's that homes matter and classrooms really matter. In so many ways, the core of a good life for a working family is a good home and a good school. We know this in our own lives. We've certainly learnt it this year like never before. That's why I want the government to fast-track their urgent social housing repair and maintenance work to bring forward long-planned school building projects. It's one of the most practical things a state government can do to help people put their lives back together after COVID. And the policy case is absolutely compelling. We should go big and fast and do this at scale. Mr. Speaker, 51,000 people were on the social housing wait list in June 2020. And 1.4 million were experiencing housing stress in the state. During lockdown, this only got worse as maintenance work slowed even further. Each $1 million investment can generate 9 jobs and around 2.9 million of industry output and consumption across the economy. We especially want construction firms and tradies in Western Sydney who were shut out of the industry through restrictions to have a chance to win back some of that work. And we want local material suppliers to get the contracts. According to industry, the social housing repair and maintenance backlog is estimated to be in the hundreds of millions of dollars. A significant proportion of New South Wales' social housing was built before 1970. A huge number of homes are no longer fit for purpose to meet the needs of older Australians who live in them today. So many homes were built for young workers in the 1960s, not retirees in the 2020s. And many homes were absolutely not built for climate change. More than half of our social housing is drafty in winter, impossible to cool in summer, and exposed to unhealthy heat and cold extremes. They're just not safe to live in now that climate change is moving so fast. We can cut carbon emissions and costs by reaching modern energy efficient standards. Let's make social housing a big part of our clean energy future, Mr. Speaker. And the big build should be for schools as well. 3 elections in a row, the Coalition have driven over to the west and southwest, promised new schools, upgraded schools, gone home, gone missing, 4 years later come back just to re-announce them again. It's just not good enough. If I ran through the list of school communities left behind, it'd sound like a street directory, not a budget reply speech. Dozens of Sydney suburbs have waited while whole class groups have gone through schools from K to 6 or 7 to 12 without promised projects being delivered and promised schools being opened. It's a shambles and it's time to fix it. The government should start today with 4 key projects in 4 of the education communities hit hard by the closure of schools this year. They are long planned, long promised projects, Mr. Speaker, not just shovel ready, but shovel overdue. Schools like the primary school in Tallawong, the high school in Marsden Park, the K-12 school in Rydalmere, and the primary school in Gregory Hills. All promised, all still not delivered. These are growing communities which urgently need dozens of classrooms, libraries, playgrounds. Tens of millions of dollars should be at work here with all the economic boost that it brings. Mr. Speaker, that's a plan to rebuild the state's economy, to bring our city back together, to grow jobs and heal the divide in this town. But I also want the government to think about something that's troubled me a lot this winter, and it's not just a lost winter of trading. For a lot of kids, it was a lost year of learning as well. Every parent feels this anxiety. Did I do enough? Did we get it right? Schools across Sydney have been closed for months. The West and Southwest saw the highest demands for computers, internet dongles, especially in the Blacktown, Canterbury Bankstown, Fairfield, Campbelltown and Liverpool local government area. I think we should all be really concerned for what the long-term effect on our kids is going to be. We should be working really hard right now to help them catch up on what they've lost. This has to start with a special focus on places hardest hit by the lockdowns. Mr. Speaker, the government should extend the COVID intensive learning program into 2022. The program provides small group tuition to help students catch up after disrupted learning in 2020. Every teacher, parent, anyone with common sense can see that this year's disruption has been far more significant than last year's. And the government should fast-track additional school counsellors in New South Wales schools to support children's mental health. Mental health issues affect 1 in 7 young people, yet the government is still yet to deliver enough school counsellors. So let's have 1 counsellor for every 500 kids, just like the experts say. We're currently a long way from that. It's 1 counsellor for every 709 students. So it will take some time. But I couldn't bear it if our kids are still catching up on 2021 when they're finishing school in 5 or even 10 years' time. My fear is a long COVID for our education system, and together we can't let that happen. Mr. Speaker, budgets are about priorities and hard choices. This is especially when facing record debt, and that was before the Delta outbreak. The Liberal government is pushing their $10 billion Northern Beaches tunnel. The business case barely stacks up. And once again, the priorities are all wrong here. Parramatta's population is set to increase by 204,000. Camden by 227,000. Liverpool up 229,000. Blacktown by 264,000 people over the next 2 decades. Additional people. Meanwhile, the Northern Beaches will grow by just 31,000, Mosman by just 1,000 people over the same period. That is why last weekend I announced that a New South Wales Labor government would not approve this toll road. Our priority is building infrastructure where Sydney is growing. It was interesting to hear the new Premier say yesterday that the Coalition will not play the politics of envy, as if everyone in the West is poor and everyone in the East is rich. Mr. Speaker, it's a fundamental misunderstanding of the state that he leads. The problem is, Mr. Speaker, that the Liberals have played politics of geography their entire decade in power. And the 2 million people that live in Western Sydney are sick to death of it. Yep. So instead of another expensive toll road for the Northern Beaches, Labor will spend funds straight into Western Sydney for much needed public transport infrastructure. We will fund projects that open up economic opportunities and jobs for the people of the West. Mr. Speaker, I hope the government rises to the moment and takes us up on many of these challenges. Keep economic support flowing until businesses and families are back on their feet. Extend the payroll tax holiday. Supercharge jobs with a big build. And get alongside our kids so they can recover from one of the worst years of their young lives. We honestly believe that if you do these things, it will make a difference. The need is really clear, the case is compelling, the opportunity is really big. Mr. Speaker, the 2023 election in 18 months' time will be a contest about the future, an argument about what kind of future we build after the pandemic is over. I've said since the day I took the job that I will lead New South Wales with a positive, alternative vision for the state, realistic, long-term thinking and practical ideas to solve problems. We'll reach out to the suburbs, the regions and the towns of New South Wales with optimism and hope. We'll work together for every citizen of this state with new energy and new ideas. A better New South Wales is possible. Let's work together to achieve that outcome.